And one of the things that I also think is really funny that I don't think I ever really appreciated before is if we want to talk about the characters in this movie. This came out in 1985, right in the pocket of the 80s horror boom. You've already got, I think, 4, possibly 5 Friday the 13th movies at this point. Nightmare on Elm Street is out. They've done at least 3 Halloweens.
Wow.
There's a whole glut of other slasher movies thanks to the Friday the 13th boom. And they're all geared towards teenagers. The characters are always teenagers. The heroines are always teenagers. The heroes, ostensibly the heroes in this movie, are 2 middle-aged guys. Yes. And really bucking
two middle-aged guys named
Bert and Ernie. And in a way that really bucks the stereotype, the other guy who you could argue is a hero in this movie is the one black guy in the movie.
Yeah.
He's very smart. He thinks through things. Like, there are multiple scenes where you've got that character whose name I can't remember at the moment. I'll have to look it up.
I believe his name was Spider.
Spider. You're so good with the character names. You've got Spider and
Spider, Bert, and Ernie.
Spider, Bert, and Ernie, just like very calmly sitting around, practically talking about what their actual options are and the pros and cons of each of them, and they're actually coming up with a plan.
Them.
Yeah,
like okay, all right. So if you go for the car and I cover you here from the door, if the zombies cut you off, then we should have somebody over here to do. And you're like, oh, wow, that's very thorough.
Yeah. Yeah, and you very rarely get that kind of practicality out of characters like those or like these in movies like this, because it's always so focused on the teenagers. And in this one, the teenagers are pretty dumb. They're across the board.
Except for Spider.
And like, you kind of think when this movie starts, at least I do, that Tina is going to be the main character, only because that's the way it would work in 95% of all of other movies like this. She's the normal, quote unquote, normal girl who hangs out with the weird punk crowd and, is in love with her boyfriend. And so you've got that going on. And so you assume she's going to be the main character, but then she turns out to be completely useless.
Yeah, more so than anyone else, I would argue.
Arguably the most useless character I've ever seen in a horror movie.
She's so bad. I think that's on purpose. Like,
yeah, oh, definitely.
Like, because even the sort of like, she lives in denial of what's going on so much further into that movie than anybody else.
Yeah, she is kind of a little bit like the girl from Night of the Living Dead, Barbara, of course, Barbara.
Oh yeah.
In that she's just sort of there to scream and react that way and kind of go catatonic. Funny enough.
Yeah, and look afraid.
Funny enough, the actor in Night of the Living Dead who says they're coming to get you, Barbara, is Russell Streiner, who is one of the writers on this movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everybody knew each other, and then they all split and got into rights arguments with each other for 25 years.
That's what happens when you do these things.
Yeah, but it's just so fascinating to me that this, like, I have to assume Dan O'Bannon must have been in his middle age when he wrote this, because it very much kind of feels like how a middle-aged man would practically handle these situations, while also having to deal with a bunch of punk kids.
Yeah, literally and figuratively punk kids.
Yes.
I love their costumes.
Oh, the punks are great. They are so, each one of them is so unique, and they each have their thing that they're into, and they're just hilarious. All of their lines are quotable and memorable, whether it's talking about the worst way to die or, punk. Nobody asks suicide what he thinks. He's got things to say. My favorite bit in this whole movie which I never really picked up on before. It's just a stupid little thing, but I laughed for like legitimately 5 minutes. Is when
Okay.
oh, I don't know the names in this movie. When Casey and Chuck, I think, are sitting in front of the mausoleum, and they're kind of just Chuck is trying to get into Casey's pants or whatever, and then she makes a snide comment about how sensitive or something Suicide is, and then right after that, Suicide just walks across frame, goes, "Hey, fuck you, ball buster," and that's just the end of the shot. I laughed for like 5 minutes.